And welcome back to All Day Live. We're going to go back to our Corin Hoggard right now, who is trying to track some of these immigration enforcement operations in many communities across the state and the metro here. Corin, what have you been able to find so far this afternoon?
Yeah, Amy, specifically what we're looking at today is kind of the impact on local schools and the economy. We have seen in previous ICE operations this year that there is an attendance issue that tends to follow it at local schools. So I'll be interviewing a Stanford University professor who did research on after ICE operations in California in January and February. He found that there was a 22% increase in student absences in the nearby school districts. And then what happens and why. He says mostly the youngest students, they are typically, I guess, tied to folks, the younger parents being more at-risk families that tend to be swept up in these operations. And then locally here in Minnesota, is that what we're seeing? So I talked to several school districts that have anecdotally said that they do have some attendance issues. I'll be interviewing the superintendent in St. Cloud who says, yeah, on December 3rd, when this kind of all got started last week, they did have a dip in attendance. They don't know for sure that it's related to the ICE operations here, but the superintendent told me that she was hearing that some Somali parents specifically had pulled their kids out of school. And so that's a financial strain on the schools. It's also a financial strain on nearby businesses that will, typically lose business on the days when students don't come and parents don't come. And so that's kind of what we're examining today.
Yeah, and as we learned from COVID, every day a student isn't in class learning, there's a big ripple effect that happens there. And we've seen the legislature, even this from this past spring, really clamp down on attendance at school. And if you're a parent in Minnesota, you know this because your school has really tightened the reins on how much your child can miss.
It's true. There are also a lot of them, though, sending out notes in response to, rumors of ICE operations at St. Louis Park schools, for example. And they're all, pretty forceful in saying, we're not going to allow ICE onto our campus to come talk to students unless they have an actual warrant to speak to them. So they're pretty universal in the language that they're using, which is that, we will cooperate with a judicial warrant, but we're not, allowing ICE just to wander our buildings or anything like that.
Yeah, a flood of kind of over communicating in communities where this is of concern. And then also over the weekend, Corin, and I know this is not necessarily part of your story, but when we're talking about schools, Augsburg University had an incident where we had some video, which I know you had a chance to, I think, take a peek at as well. So there's that layer of it as well, and that dynamic that's different.
That's right. And Augsburg obviously is a private school with a lot of Somalis who are registered there. So that definitely is a concerning situation for those folks on the Augsburg campus. But yeah, we're trying to examine what's happening with the younger students here today.
Yeah, I know you're just kind of getting kick-started with that, so we'll look forward to seeing some stuff 5, 6 o'clock tonight, yeah?
You got it.
Okay, thanks, Corin, for checking in. Appreciate it.